If you steal from the poor, you become rich. If you steal from the wealthy, you go to prison.
Correct. If you go into the till at work and you steal $5 and you get caught, you're going to jail. But if you, as an employer, steal $600,000 from your employees, no jail. The worst that will happen to you is that you might have to pay it back. That's it. And that's because in America we have sumptuary laws. What the hell is a sumptuary law? Sumptuary laws were a set of laws developed during the medieval time period, especially in Europe, that limited ownership of land, what kind of clothing you could wear, what jewelry you could and couldn't wear. You couldn't get white bread if you weren't part of the noble class. You couldn't hunt deer or boar, stuff like that. At its core, this was a set of laws that distinguished between poor and nobles. This was an incredibly strict class system. You might be asking yourself, what caused these laws to come into effect? It's always the plague. Most accounts estimate that a third of Europe was devastated by the plague. It didn't matter who you were. If you were a noble, if you were a peasant, 1 in 3 people was gone. Feudal system that people had lived under for hundreds of years had been broken apart. A lot of peasants found social mobility because A, their feudal lord was gone, or B, there was a massive hole in the labor system and they needed to fill it, so they allowed people to move around. People were not allowed to move around in feudal Europe. Until this happened, a lot of social upheaval happened because of the population decline. There was a brief time period where peasants were able to move up in social stature because of this, and the nobles hated that. Sound familiar? In America, if you own a business, you are allowed to commit a certain amount of crimes that is directly proportional to what your business is worth. You can commit all the wage theft you want as a business, but as an employee, you may never ever do that. In fact, they'll arrest you. That's because we have sumptuary laws. They don't call them that, but that's what they are. It's the same thing as medieval Europe. Also, I would like to add how ridiculously easy it was for me to find stories to match up with what I was saying. Very, very easy. Now, of course, it wasn't just medieval Europe and modern America doing these things. India had the caste system. It's over 3,000 years old. It is the strictest class system in human history. You could not leave one of these levels you were in. It was impossible. This is the system that the oligarchs in America want. How do I know this is what they want? Because they're all in love with this guy right here. His name is Curtis Yarvin.